VP Harris chose a Beyonce song that starts with freedom, freedom, freedom for who? Freedom for Palestinian voices to be on stage? Right now, we have been sold the boogeyman to Project 2025. Everything they telling us to fear in Project 2025 is currently happening to Palestinians right now. To all the Americans watching this that ain't really paying attention, when you decide between paying your water bill or feeding yourself, remember they sending billions of dollars over there. Hey, if you're a black person and you feel like, man, I don't give a damn what the folks doing over there, I can't afford to pay groceries. Hey, listen, there's a trade-off that happens. We don't have to budget for healthcare, but we can spend out $10 billion at thin air. Black folks been asking reparations for a long time. We told that we don't have the finance, we don't have the budget, but you got budget to kill Palestinians, though.
5 years old! There is blood on your hands! Sinan al-Kahlout, 3 years old! There is blood on your hands! Helena Silk, 11 years old! There is blood on your hands! Karim al-Milh, 4 years old!
First, I really want to apologize to y'all for getting y'all this DNC recap so late. There was so much to process. I was a part of so many different things that I really had to gather my thoughts on this one because I feel like it's such a delicate situation, man. The DNC really was, just like I kind of predicted, this culture war since on the left of, traditional liberalism versus progressive ideology. Being caught up on both sides and really seeing, you feel me, what was going on. There was definitely a lot for me to think about, man. I left the DNC feeling both defeated and a little bit of optimism, but the optimism was based in identity politics. And, there was a great speech that happened from somebody at a graduation that was very critical about Black faces in high spaces. Though I acknowledge that this election, there's a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line, from reproductive freedom to, criminal justice to, a ceasefire to, education, you name it. Be present in a way that showed that everything that I was there for, while also being very intentional about what was going on with uncommitted delegates and kind of how they were treated during the DNC.
In Gaza, they also need a space as well. I'm an elected official in Chicago, and I'm a committeeman in my ward in the 25th ward. I'm a Democratic committeeman. This is not democratic.
What's your name, sir?
Byron Sexual. This is undemocratic. Byron Sexual Lapis.
Thank you, sir.
Elected official, can't speak, can't have a seat.
That's right.
Can't speak, can't have a seat. It's crazy. This what they tell us we should fear with Project 2025.
Fire now. Fire now.
As a Black person that watched a lot of individuals build platforms on the pain and suffering of Black people during the BLM movement, and then they quickly move to the next thing and kind of don't talk about Black issues at all anymore, I've been very intentional about paying attention to what's going on with Palestine and what's going on here in America, insofar that it implicates how Palestinians is living, man. And just being present at these press conferences and being present when they're kind of protesting and marching through the DNC because they can't get any seats, it definitely had me feeling some type of way. It definitely had me thinking about how there were almost every other identity was able to take the center stage except for Palestinian Americans, and in many different instances, democratically elected officials. It made me think, like, damn. This the party that's supposed to be about inclusivity. This the party that's supposed to be about diversity. It's the party that's supposed to be about freedom. In the video, I asked freedom for who? Because I was thinking about how Beyonce's song is the campaign song, and really just thinking about the hypocrisy of democracy when it comes to how Palestinian American voices are marginalized, and then really thinking about how there was a great disconnect. And whoever sent out the PSYOP, CIA, FBI, whoever made that fake comment telling that Black woman to take the Palestine out of her flag and she was voting for another Black woman, I don't think, like, seeing real time the impacts that it had on actual people in real life, it was disheartening. As a Black person that thinks about being Black first, that came into this, about Blackness politically, socially, economically, how Black people can get our independence, how we can be able to determine our own destinies. it definitely made me feel some type of way hearing so many different Black women talked about how they've been rubbed wrong uniquely on social media for showing their support for Kamala Harris, man. And just what I know is that Black people have a very unique relationship to voting in this country because we've never had a pure president. We've never had a president that we agreed on everything. As a matter of fact, the president that quote unquote freed us was a president that, you know, said that if he had to free some of us, or none of us, or one of us, or two of us, or five of us, or 10 of us, literally anything to keep the union intact. When we think about even Lyndon B. Johnson that was able to pass, you know what I'm saying, civil rights acts, it's like he had a lot of different things that was very anti-Black about him. But with Black people and the relationship that we have to the poll, it's just all a matter of survivability. Now, I know that, you know, when it comes to survivability of what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in West Bank, there is a lot going on. And the lot going on is genocide. There are children and women and men that's buried under rubble. There are children, men, and women being targeted. There are children, men, and women, and men being killed in, you know, churches and schools and refugee camps. You name it. You know what I'm saying? So just recognizing the real kind of up position that American politics is in, where you got individuals that's forced to be in a situation where they're thinking about if their vote will be a vote for genocide or will their vote be a vote for, you know, reproductive freedom. To me personally, as a Black person, I think that it's unethical to try to get all Black people or try to get a Black person to shoulder imperialism based off of how they're casting a vote, especially because we know that imperialism, that colonial violence will be there anyway. The question would be, is the person that's casting the vote or that wants to cast the vote, would they have the freedom to be able to advocate for Palestine or even for their own reproductive freedom? And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. There's so much complexity that I was faced with while being at the DNC, from meeting different people like Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush, to meeting the individual, to meeting the nurse, man. I met a nurse that was in Gaza that talked about her experiences, and man, just roll the clip. Reporting live from the uncommitted delegate press conference, I have an actual doctor, a real doctor.
I am a real doctor.
A real doctor that was in Gaza. How long were you there? And what can you share with us?
I was there for 3 weeks in Khan Yunis. I just got back the day before yesterday. What I can tell you is that the situation is increasingly desperate, and it is high time for an arms embargo and for us to stop arming Israel, which is continuing to perpetuate crimes against children, women, innocent civilians over in Gaza.
I've heard other doctors talk about when they went into, you know what I'm saying, Palestine at the border, they had their material, they had their medical supplies taken. Did you experience that as well? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so the way it works now that the Rafah border, the border with Egypt, is closed, is that you have to go through Israel in order to get to Gaza. Yeah, which basically means that you're subject to all of their rules and restrictions. And we were only allowed to bring one bag, and we were not allowed to bring any medical equipment in. So anything that was suspected to be medical would be confiscated and taken away. I had my bag searched. One of my colleagues had her bag searched as well. It's impossible for me to do my job without equipment, without supplies. And we know Israel isn't letting in any substantial humanitarian aid and isn't letting in enough medical supplies needed to take care of the injured and the sick.
Man, with that being said, what do you hope that we can get from the DNC in these next couple of days, specifically when it comes to what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in West Bank?
I mean, we have the power to bring the Democratic Party to heel. And if we use that power to say, hey, if you don't support an arms embargo, we're not going to support you, it's game over, right? You're going to lose the election if you don't support an arms embargo. That's the bottom line.
And what do you say to the people that put the onus on uncommitted voters to be able to make the commitment, instead of Kamala Harris and her team being able to follow through and make y'all want to, you know what I'm saying, vote for them?
Kamala Harris and the Biden administration have had 10 months to do the right thing, and they have consistently refused to do it for one excuse or another. It's not my responsibility to uphold American democracy. It's their responsibility to make sure that their voters are satisfied with the job that they're doing and continue to vote for them. So you can't blame me for your inability to act.
When you left Khan Yunis, how was the process of leaving? Was it a hard process?
Yeah, it's always hard when you're dealing with a genocidal regime. So the exit process involved multiple points of searching and inspections. They almost made me take off my pants. They searched my bags over and over again. You get on a bus, you're escorted.
What you gonna
by
take out of
military
Palestine?
police.
What you gonna take out of Palestine? What you gonna
got
take
me.
out of it?
You got me. There's not enough being let into Palestine to actually take anything out. But you know what? The Palestinian people are so extremely generous and so extremely kind, and they made sure that I took away little trinkets and gifts with me to remember them by. And these, I mean, they're humans. Palestinian human rights are human rights,
Definitely.
and they're worth defending.
Yes. And what made you want to go to I'm saying to Communist and help?
I couldn't live with myself knowing that I have the skills to be able to help people in the worst emergency we've ever seen. So it was an obvious choice.
Last question. If the DNC does not allow for a Palestinian American to take that center stage, how would it make you feel?
It tells me everything I already know, which is the Democrats are not interested in Palestinian human rights, and they are making that increasingly obvious. And if they have no interest in soliciting our vote, they will not get it.
I have so many thoughts about why I left kind of feeling a little defeated, because I seen that no matter how much I advocate for different communities and trying to build solidarity and coalition, that there's always a lot of forces going against me and going against that very solidarity and coalitions that's trying to be built amongst different communities, as well as seeing that there's so many people that are really hoodwinked and bamboozled into being for the enemy, man. I ran into this black Trump supporter that was having on, or like he had on like an all red hoodie. When it was happening in real time, I couldn't figure out if he was serious or if he was trolling, if he was on a social experiment. And I couldn't figure out like if he was being serious. You know what I'm saying? Like I got like 2 clips with him, you feel me? But like I couldn't figure out like what y'all think. Is he trolling or not? Because I don't know, you feel me? He had a lot going on when it came to his points, especially we having a political conversation about presidents, and he's talking about BBLs, and it's just like
Trump said she got a bad BBL.
I don't know if that's a rehearsed point for you to try to, manufacture some chaos and manufacture some, you know what I'm saying, some what's the word I'm looking for? A controversy, you feel me, around outrage. But it's just like I didn't even know how to take him serious. I will say the ex-con for Trump gentleman, me and him got into a debate.
But all I'm just asking you is, I cut my penis out to 99. I did not choose to do that.
Yes, but
that's all I said. No, that's just 1 point at a time.
1 point.
You can't.
Let's see what this.
Y'all ain't even said nothing about gender.
I definitely like he had me heated enough where I told him that he told me coming to Houston. You feel me? I told him like, yeah, bro, I'll debate you. I'll get you some Cajun turkey necks, some crawfish, and I'm gonna intellectually bust your ass in the debate. But you'll be able to go back to the turkey necks and the crawfish afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But that's how heated he had me. You know what I'm saying? He's talking shit. Because what I know is that there are certain type of people that want to build dialogue that think that if they talk louder, they make them right.
No, bro.
Or they think that if they are able to do these conversation enders that they used to, master amongst other people, they're gonna be able to deploy them. And it was just like, bro, this is mad annoying. What I do know too is that there were a lot of people at the DNC that attended that went to a T-Pain party. At this T-Pain party, it was mass capacity because it's like T-Pain. Outside of the concert, there were pro-Palestinian protesters, and there were a lot of murmurs about like, damn, why y'all keep on finding the black people and shit. Just some of the things that some of the protesters was yelling at a group of black people made me feel icky. You feel them calling them baby killers, calling them cowards, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I had my kufi on, you feel me? I had my kufi bucket hat and my kufi on, but I'm standing up there talking to the black people about what's going on, specifically with the protesters, right? And as the protesters going back and forth, I'm talking to my homegirl, Legally Hype, and shit. One of the protesters come and yell something. Hey, Constantly, come join. I'm like, actually, I'm over here talking to them about this right here. I don't know if she looked at them, Legally like look at the protester a certain way, but the protester said something like, "Don't talk to me like that," or "Don't." Like, it was just like a lot of chaos, man. It was a lot of chaos. I don't know what to do about it, man. Like this division, this adversarial relationship that a lot of pro-Palestinian creators are starting to have with black women uniquely on the internet is starting to spill over and seep its way to the streets. And it's just like, I don't know what this looks like in a couple of months, how we're trying to build solidarity or how we're trying to amplify messages that happen within our communities. I've done a lot of videos about the historical relationship amongst black people and Palestinians that also acknowledges, you feel me, the historical, slave Arab trade, as well as, how Huey P. Newton Newton and Nelson Mandela and James Baldwin all were very critical of how Palestinians were being treated.